Welcome to CES 2021. Of course, this is very different than the 3,000 square foot space that AARP occupied last year, but it's not the space that's important, it's the impact. Whether it's in person or virtual, we're committed to providing the solutions and opportunities that continue to move the needle on empowering people to choose how they live as they age. And our presence at CES this year is a commitment to doing just that. I welcome you to spend time with us here exploring what we do in the innovation space and how we do it. To share a bit more about that, let me introduce the SVP of AARP Innovation Labs, Andy Miller.
Thanks, Joanne, and welcome to CES 2021. AARP Innovation Labs is really excited to be here today, exhibiting for the third consecutive year. Now, it's definitely not how we envisioned CES being for us this year. However, that's okay. We all had to iterate, innovate, and pivot over the course of 2020, and this is just an extension of what we all had to do for quite some time now. I'd like to start today with the questions I get asked most often. First, why is AARP at CES? What are you doing in the innovation space? And lastly, why are there so many startups here with you today? Well, the answer is quite simple. It's rooted in what we call the longevity economy. The longevity economy represents the economic contribution of Americans over the age of 50. And in 2018, believe it or not, it was more than $9 trillion. Yes, trillion. And it's projected to grow to $13 trillion by 2030. What we are seeing is that aging is unleashing exponential growth in every industry. Businesses that target the economic power of the 50-plus population will see enormous gains, and this is going to continue for the foreseeable future. So when we look at this economic activity, we know both big companies and startups are eager to deliver new products and services to this market, and we believe we can help. So the question is, how can AARP Innovation Labs actually help? Well, we're really focused on trying to find the most disruptive startups and the most collaborative industry partners we can. The goal is simple. It's to create, validate, test, and scale products that ultimately live into AARP's mission, which is to empower people to choose how they live as they age. The AARP Innovation Labs team is focused on startup programming, portfolio management, startup collaboration, and underlining all of this is startup investing. We're bringing expertise, resources, tools, and industry connections to the table to help startups validate their product and test their way into the longevity economy. Specifically, we get asked, what areas is AARP interested in? Well, it's really three areas. We often refer to them as health, wealth, and self, but more specifically, it's around health security, which is made up of healthcare and caregiving, financial resiliency, which includes savings and planning, work and jobs, and housing, and lastly, social connections, which is comprised of fun and fulfillment, as well as technology or digital equity. Across all of these social impact areas, we are constantly looking at age discrimination and disparities as well. So we are looking for disruptive startups that are working on solutions that we can help them bring these solutions to market, help them grow, help them validate and test their way into the longevity economy. With that, I'd like to toss it over to Berzinski, who's our Director of Startup Portfolio Management, who's going to share more about the trends we are seeing in the marketplace and specific technologies we think are interesting.
Thanks, Andy. So we just heard that AARP plays in the areas of health security, financial resilience, and fun and fulfillment. What I'd love to do now is go a step further and take a quick look at 4 of the spaces within these areas that we believe are truly ripe for disruption and need to be on everyone's radar as we look to the future. First up, let's look at caregiving. Today, more than 1 in 5 Americans are caregivers, having provided care to an adult or child with special needs at some time in the past 12 months. 61% of family caregivers continue to work, and a significant portion of these receive no additional pay for the care that they provide. Many caregivers also declare that they have difficulty in coordinating care, and more caregivers today say that caregiving has made their health worse than just 5 years ago. What's truly interesting, however, is that family caregiving spans across all generations. So this includes boomers, Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, and the silent generation. So not only should solutions recognize and support family caregivers as a cornerstone of society, but they must also be able to resonate across multiple generations. Next, let's take a look at savings and planning. Alarmingly, in 2019, 40% of Americans did not have enough money in the bank to cover a $400 emergency expense. One more time, 40% of Americans did not have enough money in the bank to cover a $400 emergency expense. Additionally, the median retirement savings for Americans in their 50s was $117,000. That's $117,000 that will hopefully carry them through the next 30 to 40 years of their lives. There's a huge space for solutions that increase access and participation amongst individuals to earn, save, and manage their financial resources to support longer lifespans. Another space that we believe is ripe for disruption is that of aging in place. Here's a fact. 89% of Americans over age 50 wish to remain in their homes for as long as possible. So, the conversations about the benefits and costs associated with aging in place will become increasingly critical. Evidence suggests that programs that support aging in place may yield cost savings for families, government, and health systems. Aging in place has also been shown to have health and emotional benefits over all institutional care. We believe strongly that there is a huge opportunity for solutions that allow people to remain in their homes with dignity, independence, and safety. Finally, there's social isolation. A truly fascinating study that was done recently found that loneliness and social isolation could be more damaging to one's health than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And the problem is even more acute in seniors. In fact, 43% of seniors report feeling lonely on a regular basis. There's a 45% increased risk of mortality in seniors who report feeling lonely. We therefore believe that there's an amazing opportunity for disruptive solutions to offer opportunities for the 50 plus to build and maintain social connections and engage with their communities and the broader world. However, it is important that these solutions consider equity and accessibility in design, as well as the technological divide that exists throughout society. So, take a step back. We've just looked at 4 spaces that we see as being big in the near future. But how about we take a moment to dive in to the handful of technologies that just might allow us to see the positive potential that exists in these spaces. Let's start with augmented reality. There's a truly transformative opportunity for AR solutions that affect the way we live as we age. Imagine, if you will, a heads-up display that allows caregivers to see the care recipient's temperature and current weight while looking directly at them. Or a dementia patient looking at their loved ones and having their names and favorite anecdotes popping up above their heads. How about your realtor walking you through an open house and showing you in real time not only how your furniture would fit in the family room, but also how you might want to retrofit any areas for long-term livability. Wearables are another area. They've seen strong commercial success over the past few years. The future looks great for an industry that is proving to deliver solutions that are more discreet and able to measure information about ourselves and the persons in our charge. The best wearables not only capture data like blood oxygen levels and monitoring falls, but the data that they collect and how it is crunched can be used to predict and inform many things about our everyday lives. There's also non-obtrusive sensors. We believe that ambient, non-obtrusive sensors will be game changers in helping people live more independently, while also allowing caregivers and physicians to have all the information that they need to support their loved ones and patients. So let's think of a scenario where a son and the family physician are able to get alerts that mom has started using the bathroom more frequently at night, and that the refrigerator door has been left ajar several times over the last week. Add this to a rising temperature during the evening and more restless sleep, and the family may now have a picture of how to better support a loved one. All of this without cameras pinpointing and being evasive in people's homes. Voice. We speak about voice, voice is everywhere. It's also easy to think of using voice technology as simply a great way to enhance social engagement. Think of robotic pets and companions that are in fact proven ways to support social isolation challenges. But we are also keen on looking at how voice technology can break down barriers of language and physical capability to make experiences truly more accessible for all users. Finally, AARP Innovation Labs also believes that the future looks good for solutions in places that have to date been a little bit more taboo. Some of these include modern approaches to the realities of life, such as menopause, incontinence, sexual health, and end-of-life planning. So, thanks again for taking the time to learn more about some of the key trends and areas of interest for AARP Innovation Labs. And now, I'll pass it back over to Andy.
I would like to thank each of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to spend a few minutes learning more about the age tech space and what we do here at AARP Innovation Labs. I would also like to invite you to check out the other videos on our CES site to delve a bit deeper into our services and check out all the startups we have here with us today. Lastly, if you're interested in working with AARP Innovation Labs, I would direct you to our website, aarpinnovationlabs.org, where you can monitor our upcoming virtual events as well as sign up for our newsletter. Thanks again for stopping by, and have a great CES 2021.